And so what you're looking at here is the spiral arm that is closest to Earth. And so you're looking in towards the galactic center. And so actually somewhere about halfway up that image, kind of right there, hidden through all that dust, is the center of our galaxy. It's called Sagittarius A star. It's a black hole several 100,000 times the size of the sun, and it marks the center of our galaxy. So when you're in winter, then you're going to get this is all below the horizon, and so you're going to get something that kind of looks like the top third of that image at best.
So it's basically on its side in that view?
Yeah, we're on our side looking at it.
Okay.
But in the northern hemisphere, it is best visible in the summer. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's best visible during the winter. So a lot of astronomers will actually have collaborators across both hemispheres, because we of course only see half the sky. So half the night sky you have never seen unless you have been to Australia or South America or elsewhere in the southern hemisphere.
So in that picture, you're on an arm looking at another arm, basically.
So your solar system actually sits between two spiral arms in the galaxy. So we are looking towards the inner arm that we sit in between. Yeah.
You just said that we hadn't seen even half the sky in the northern hemisphere. Is that what you said?
Yeah, you personally.
Right.
Anyone who lives in the northern hemisphere, unless you've been to the southern hemisphere, they have all their own constellations and things, because you don't see that half of the sky, because the planet itself is in the way.
Is it would be in the daytime that, is that how that works?
Well, the planet itself is in the way, right?
Right.
So like, I can't see anything through that wall.
Right.
It's the same thing. So there are constellations that travel, Scorpius and Sagittarius being two of them. So the constellations that are kind of low on the horizon are ones that you can see in both the northern and southern hemisphere. The ones that are higher in the sky, like Big Dipper, you will not be able to see in the southern hemisphere ever, because they are the northern horizon. The north pole of the planet is pointed towards those constellations. Other questions? Yeah.
With the solar eclipse,
Yeah.
You know, just in general, we know we're not supposed to stare into the sun unless it's really low on the horizon.
Yeah.
What is it that makes an eclipse, the light from the eclipse, more dangerous than when if you were dumb enough to look straight up in the sky?
It's not more dangerous. It's just the appeal of doing it, right? The temptation to look without full eye protection is strong. So we, as astronomers, want to make sure that everyone knows what we all know, just don't look at the sun without glasses on. And so it is cool to see. I've never seen a full eclipse, but I was for 2017 one, my university, not my first day of college ever. It was an interesting first day of college. We got 86% of the coverage. 86% of the coverage, you could look at the sun for about twice as long as you normally would with your naked eye, with that before your eyes hurt, and then you'll go back. But still, it's really cool too. That effect of seeing the moon roll over the sun, you're not going to really be able to see until close to totality with your naked eye. And so to be able to look through your glasses and actually see the motion of the moon, especially kind of look at it and look away for a few minutes and look back and actually see these things are moving, it's a really, really cool effect. Also, my professor at Mount Union, she's seen a total solar eclipse on 5 continents. She's actively working to try and get Antarctica next year to see another one. That's her bucket list item, is to see a solar eclipse on all 7 continents. She has 5 of them done.
What time of the year?
So the Antarctica one is either next year or the year after, and I don't remember when it is.
But during the summer, during Antarctica,
yeah, I assume, assuming that. Yeah, my understanding is that you can't make that trip in the winter. But yeah, regardless, she has said that if people aren't interested necessarily in astronomy, who hear about the eclipse, they go, okay, I'll wander outside and see if I can see it when it happens. She has said that she has, in her travels, seen many, many people who are dragged by someone they love to this eclipse that clearly do not have an interest in seeing it. And she said generally they have the most exciting experience because they don't necessarily know anything about it or know what to expect, and then they're just mind blown. So The effect of totality also cannot be understated. There's all kinds of cool things that happen at totality, especially with wildlife. Wildlife is really, really, really thrown off by eclipses, total eclipses. So a lot of nocturnal animals will come out actually at total eclipses because they think it's nighttime, and then it's not. And so there's a lot of really interesting science outside of astronomy that happens at total eclipses as well.
What else? What else?
What? Huh?
What else? You said it, there's other things that are interesting.
Yeah, so most of them are effects with animals. You'll see also it affects plant life as well. And so plants that are blooming towards the sun, right, will start to close their petals during eclipses. Some of them, is my understanding. And then you're effectively blocking, you are blocking the sun for a substantial portion of time, right? It's not just totality, which is 2 minutes, it's a few hours that this eclipse lasts. And so the planet cools like the sun is going down, and then it heats back up when it's uncovered, and then has to cool down again. And so there's some very interesting thermodynamics there, if you're a nerd and like to study that sort of thing. Yeah. But so for example, like airline pilot, so for example, planes fly differently at night than they do during the day because the air density changes because of the temperature change. And so my understanding is that pilots also have to be very aware of this because it will actually affect how their plane flies if they're in the air during the eclipse.
That leads me to,
Yes.
is there, if that's the case, is there other technologies that for that time period do active?
Not to my knowledge. So any technology that is not solar powered should be fine. And your electronics, that sort of thing, they should be unaffected. Anything though, if you have like any light fixture in your houses for turning your lights on or off, or any solar panel tech anywhere in your house, those are obviously going to be affected as well. But yeah, other than that, it should be a pretty normal experience. Other than the fact that Dayton, Ohio is just named in several magazines, including USA Today, as one of the top 5 locations in the country to see the eclipse. And so I hope you like travel because
Why would it be the top 5?
we are, if you go to the eclipse maps too, you are pretty much dead center in the band of totality.
Oh, the green is top-notch spot?
So if you look at your times there, your green is kind of your longest durations, and then your blue is the second longest. And so we are in the blue section. You get a large portion of the eclipse. All of this whole band experiences totality, but the center of this line will get longer than the others, right? So even within this green section, if you're here, you get less eclipse than if you are here in the center.
Oh, okay.
Dayton is pretty much in the center of that blue band. And so Dayton gets about a 2.5 minute eclipse. Toledo, where I will be, well, I won't be there because I'm traveling, but where I would be otherwise, is just inside the top edge of the band. And so Toledo, totality only gets 90 seconds of totality. Dayton gets 2.5 minutes. Cleveland gets 3.5 minutes.
As you move toward the red there, then you get less?
So you want to be in the middle of this band. So Dayton is kind of here. Toledo is just inside the top edge. Cleveland is pretty much smack dab in the middle. And so you get a longer eclipse.
So we need to pray for cloud cover.
You need to pray for no cloud cover.
Right.
Unless you don't want people to come here, then yes, pray for cloud cover. And then go travel somewhere else and you can see it. But yeah. So,
So it'll be dark. It'll just be how much of the eclipse you can actually watch. That's something.
right, it basically how long does the eclipse last? And so you want to, again, especially given that this is the last one in Ohio until 2099, to milk the experience for all of its worth. And so most people try to not only get in the band, but to get as close to the center of it as possible. Right.
Same, yeah. We've established this.
Yeah, so if you are, I'm actually going with my professor who taught that class I mentioned several times tonight. She is weather watching, and we are basically waiting on the weather. So she lives less than an hour south of Cleveland, and Cleveland's a great spot to see it. So if it ends up being clear, I will drive over to Cleveland with her, and we'll find a park or somewhere outside Cleveland to watch it. If we need to go to Texas to watch it, because the whole Midwest is cloudy, we'll go to Texas to watch it. We are waiting on coverage. Of course, me being a student at UT, this happens on a Monday, so if you're a student, walk out of class to watch it. Tell your teachers you don't do that. I didn't tell you that. But the department that I'm in, part of physics and astronomy, of course, we are all traveling for it, and so we are canceling all classes that day and leaving for it. So schools, I don't know if UT is doing, UT does not have an astronomy department, and neither does Wright State. So I don't know if they're doing anything for it, but universities in the area, I'm sure, are doing different things for it. Definitely check UC, Xavier, Miami, all of those if you want to go and be somewhere where scientists will be explaining things to you. Those would be good places to start if you're interested.
Right Pat's doing a big to-do as well.
Yes, Right Pat is also going to be at their base as well. Yeah.
Is there a reason to have a telescope at all, or just look at everything and it's fine?
So you can look at it with your naked eye, or with your eye just fine. Yeah. With your eye just fine. I was advised by my professor to not bring my telescope. I wanted to bring it in order so I could look at it and so I could also photograph it through my telescope. And my advisor advised me not to. And the reason for that is she said that I will want, as it be my first time, to just kind of absorb the experience. And so I don't want to be distracted by, fumbling with telescopes and equipment and that sort of thing. But this is certainly a view that you can see with your eye, right? It's not going to be pretty large in the sky, and so you can see it with just your glasses on, just fine. My professor, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this, took those photos at one of her eclipses. So I will also be with her, and she will be doing a lot of that, and so I will happily watch her do that and watch the eclipse as well. Yes?
On the picture you said, I believe you took of the Milky Way.
Yes.
The 30-second exposure.
Yes.
How did you determine 30 seconds was good? Is it
Ah.
trial and error?
Okay, so when you take pictures of the night sky, if you are exposed for too long, all of your stars will start to trip because of the rotation of the Earth, right? So that's what causes stars to move to the sky. So if you expose for too long, you will get star trips. The offset to that is to have a tripod that tracks the night sky. I do not have it. So we were limited. I played around with it experimentally and determined what the maximum exposure time I could have so that the Milky Way was as bright as possible in this photo without getting my star trails. And so that, I said 30 seconds, the actual exposure is about 27 seconds. Because 28, you can clearly see things starting to trip. So if you see like professional photographers, which I am certainly not, do Milky Way shots and stuff, they are probably exposing for anywhere north of 10 minutes. They have equipment that can track. Yeah, and we'll get much better resolution. Even at this size, you can kind of tell this photo's starting to get grainy, and that's because I don't have a lot of the equipment and stuff to get better resolution on that photo. So it's still amazing. It's my profile picture and everything, because how could it not be? All right, other questions? All right, looks good. All right, thank you so much for all coming. If you think of something, I will be here tomorrow before I head back to school. I'm on spring break right now. But I head back tomorrow afternoon, so if you think of something between now and tomorrow morning, please let me know. If you think of something afterwards, bug either my mom or dad, and they will send me questions, and I will respond to you through them. Or hit me up on social media or whatever else. I'm happy to talk about any of this and all of